And ain't about Alabama, Pat. You already talking noise and ain't about Alabama. Go ahead, man. Hey,
I told you I'm
welcome to
coming for you.
Baseline. Hey, we got 5 guys, not the hamburgers, baby, but we get it done on the sports show. I got my man Double A right there. What's up, Double A? Appreciate.
What's
I got
up?
my cousin behaving. What's up, D?
What's up, yeah?
I got my man Orange Pill. He got a broken heart like me, man. Clemson lost, Miami lost, ACC lost. The only one smiling from ear to ear, unless D Haven smiling too, since Georgia won, is Pac Jam. All right, Pac Jam. What's up, Pac Jam?
What's going on, man?
Yeah,
Roll Tide. Come to give people the truth,
wagon.
man.
Yeah.
Come to give people the truth.
So we were sitting here talking about Pac was talking hate on Dabo Swinney. You know, go ahead, Pat. Go ahead and finish your statement.
What I was saying was, as I just kind of fill everybody in from Friday's show, I mentioned the fact that Dabo Swinney had 2 generational quarterbacks, NFL generational talents, and Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence is what he had. And those guys there were so talented that they can get you above a lot of times. Their talent can take you, supersede the coaching. And I felt that that's what their talent did in their tenure when they was playing for the Clemson Tigers. And I felt what we saw Saturday is what I always knew. And that was 2 things. The only thing that Clemson's going to do defensively, because remember, their coordinator was fired from Oklahoma. If we remember that. I hope our memory ain't that short on us. All he does is he's a blitz happy guy. He's a pressure guy. Schematically, offensively, Clemson didn't do anything different from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. Georgia could not get no offense going, and you mean to tell me schematically you ain't tried nothing outside of you finished the game with -2 rushing yards. You didn't.
No, give them 2 yards. They had 2 yards rushing yards, not minus. Give them 2. Give them their +2.
+2. I'm sorry, I misread that. +2. But schematically, I didn't see anything. And to me, once again, Dabo was exposed. He was exposed again. We knew going into the game, Georgia offense wasn't there. They got a good quarterback. They don't have no skill players. We knew that going into the game, but we knew they had a great defense. But to go out there and not give us anything different from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, that's on Dabo Swinney's lap, man.
Jason, what you got to say about that, man? You bleed what it called orange and white. What you got to say, man?
All right, great game by Georgia. It's just what it was. Little tidbit here. What we already knew. Generational talent. Are you saying Trevor Lawrence in his first year was that much better than Alabama? Is that what you're saying? That was all.
Listen, I didn't stutter. I said generational talent. Generational talent. It's going to supersede coaching and everybody else. He did his thing. He whooped us. I didn't stutter. He did that. I give him his props. I'm talking about Dabo Swinney without generational talent at the quarterback position and X's and O's. Let's coach some football, similar to LSU out there in UCLA. No Burrow. Let's coach. Ed Orgeron, Dabo. Let's give me some coaches, some schematics here. We didn't see any. You got outcoached, outclassed. Both coaches.
When you did see it? Both years, Trevor Lawrence missed the game. Deshaun Watson missed the game, and we win with our backups. What you really saw last night was one limited QB, okay, that either bought into the hype or was not ready. How many running lanes did he have he didn't pull the trigger on? How many times did he stay on his first read? Now, that could have been, if the talent ain't there, then that's on scouting. I don't think that's what it is from what we've seen in practice. I think the lights got too big too soon for him. I don't know. I mean, you would think the preparation last year would have had him there, but it seemed to me what I saw was he was timid. He had some things firing off at him. He didn't like what he saw. He didn't feel comfortable. Credit to Georgia, credit to Kirby Smart. They saw what people saw last year against Notre Dame, which was, when it worked, which was fire everything at the kid. And when they had the big third down, the one that could have got us back in the game, what'd they do? 0 blitz. Throw everything at the kid because they knew he didn't have the confidence to run. And Brent Venables, being just a blitz-happy guy, there are 50 schools in this nation right now that would fire their defensive coordinator and hire him in a second. Like, with this we ain't playing Madden out there. You can't just blitz happy. We even dropped the defensive end who took a wrong angle, and that led to a big third down conversion. If that DN doesn't take that too wide like he does, we get off the field. So to reduce Brent Venables to a blitz happy guy, because of a one-score bad game that was decided on a pick six. It's just being silly. I think the lights got too big and the moment got too big for DJ, and he didn't perform. He didn't deliver. The rest of the team did. We were right there.
And Jason, I want to be fair too, because last time I was on the show with you, you mentioned about Clemson being more, they should be more conservative on their offense because you didn't think he was ready. You said that. You said, and I was like, what? I was like, no way, man, because da-da-da. But you called that out as far as you had some concerns about offensively, and you had some concerns about DJ, heading into that game, So, I want to point that out to you because I was wrong and you was right. You said it.
You could see it last year a little bit. He stands tall because he is tall, but you can see it sometimes. I remember in that game, the first time we got Alabama, you could just see into Deshaun's face. He's like, okay, all right. When Jalen Hurts ran that in, he looked up at the clock like, all right, that's enough time for me. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. You never saw him the moment get too big for him. No matter how, rookie season, a freshman year, I should say. But with DJ, the moment was big a few times last year, and it just didn't inspire. Now he could turn it all around.
Right.
Who am I to say? But it seemed like there was coverage sacks. I hate saying this and sounding like Georgia won the game. It was a great plan. Their kids played. Let's be honest. They don't have the most talent. They just don't. They have some, but like he even mentioned on it. But I think kids play beyond themselves because they all bought in. It really seemed like a team that was all there like, hey, we're supposed to get blown out. Let's just do something. You could just see it from the first series to the last series. That team seemed like they were playing just inspired football.
Yeah. Well, I disagree on this part though. Georgia got some talent, man. They got some
a lot of talent.
And they did a great job of mixing stuff up, man. 4-man rush, 5-man rush, changing their coverage, and they had no problems going man to man on Clemson receivers. So you're right. I agree with you. It was a lot of cover sacks, and that guy, he couldn't get. I don't know if it was him or the fact he couldn't get to a second, third read. You're right. He was looking one direction. By the time he go to the next direction, they was on him. That offense line, it looked pathetic, man. They could not block. They could not play dead in the Cowboy movie, man. They couldn't block nobody. So I was like, wow.
It was running late.
Before you come, any comments? Double A Dave, y'all got anything?
Oh no, I thought they probably put a lot on DJ because he didn't play that bad last year in that game against Notre Dame.
Right.
He played really well. But he already got a commercial, so the pressure might have been, it might have been a whole lot. But he didn't play that bad last year against Notre Dame, so I was expecting a little bit more based off of that. Just that game here, he went back to almost beat Notre Dame up in South Bend. But like you said, it was a different beast Saturday night. It was solely on him, and Trevor wasn't coming back like he was last year. So, that's what I kind of saw. I think the moment did, and there was a lot of pressure on him. It did kind of get a little big for him.
To me, I thought they lost the game in the trenches. Georgia won the game in the trenches, and Clemson. Regardless, honest, the way to help a young quarterback out, give protection, they didn't help him out at all. The O-line didn't, and then the offense didn't either because. A lot of times the running back wasn't chipped. They weren't doing max protection and whatnot to get the guy more time. They were just running their system, sending everybody out, and that guy was getting sacked. Go ahead, though, Pac Jam.
So you saying if it wasn't Brent Venables' fault and it wasn't Dabo's fault, are we saying we didn't have the talent? Are we saying offensive line ain't talented? I'm trying to figure this out. Who's to blame then? Let's cut it to the chase. Who's to blame for that loss?
DJ.
Let me play referee on this one.
It's DJ fault. He says DJ fault. All right.
DJ's fault, but
I say all hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck. Everybody got a piece of it. When you
that offensive line.
They lost 10-3.
That offensive line was a turnstile at the mall.
Huh?
Exactly.
That offensive line. Have you ever that offense? It reminded me when I went up the mall out there out there, the Florida Mall in Orlando. It was a turnstile. That offensive line was just doing this here all night.
The offensive line, they was getting they
got run over.
Georgia showed that they prepared for this game. They understood the pressures they were seeing, the delayed blitz, the different looks and different angles. That guy was confused. He go one look, it's not there. They doing max man-to-man coverage, gluing on receiver. and then try to go the other way. The guy he getting sacked.
But
All hands on deck.
3 of those runs, are we having a different conversation? If
But
DJ breaks
what
runs,
you say, Jason? Say again.
If DJ breaks 3 runs, just 3, when there was wide open space for 10, 15 yards, we're having a totally different conversation.
Right.
If he just breaks 3 of them, so we can't put it all on the offensive line. They were outmatched, but there was lanes to run. If he breaks 3 of them and we get 40 yards out of them, those drives extended, it's just a totally different conversation. So,
but the thing is, you could say the same thing if Georgia wide receivers made some catches that hit them in the hands. We would have a different conversation. They would have scored 2-3 touchdowns. At the end of the day, it's like this. I felt that DJ made some mistakes. Yes, he did. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of times in that game that as soon as he get the ball, they're in his face. Like, soon as he do a 3-step drop, he's under attack. There was plenty of times like that. When a team gets 7 sacks and over 10 hurries, that's offensive line, man. That ain't just that ain't just a quarterback problem.
No, I agree. That's just an offensive line. When you say offensive line, you see what happened there.
I say that's just not an offense. That's just not. That's a collective thing going on. That's just saying DJ. That's offensive line. That's offensive. That's offensive line coach. Let's change protections. Let's see what we can do schematically because we see they're coming in. They're coming in right through the teeth of the offensive line. They're not coming in from the out. They're coming right up the middle. There was no tackles making sacks.
They was coming from everywhere, man. They were coming from the middle, the side, outline. It was just they did a good job of mixing that thing up. Inside press, inside linebackers getting sacked. The defense end number 4 got a sack on the outside. I mean, they beat them with 4-man rush. They beat them with 3-man rush. I mean, 5-man rush. They did 0 pressure. I mean, they did a great job of mixing that thing up. That's why I say all hands on deck, man. That's what happened, man. So, well, any other thoughts about it? W, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'll use this as an opportunity to switch. Based on what I saw in week one is we're all playing for second place, and that includes Georgia and Clemson. Because unless Alabama beats itself, that Georgia D might be able to handle Alabama's offense for a little bit. But that Alabama, they got the full team. They're the only team that I saw had both sides of the ball covered, and I don't see what's getting in their way. So, I look at Miami's position in the ACC. Clemson's still the class. I think they'll get it together playing against a lot weaker talent than an SEC Georgia defense. And as far as Georgia, I wouldn't want to face Alabama because they're going to put up points regardless of who your defense is. So,
right. Hey, Jason, I know you're a big Clemson fan. What's your thoughts coming out of the game? What areas of improvement? Is this just one game, or what? Or you got some concerns? Things that need to change?
I think we'll be there at the end of the year. I think, but I think we're going to find out in about 4 weeks. I mean, remember, let's not forget Deshaun Watson didn't start. So look, Dabo's not too big to own up to a mistake. Neither did Trevor Lawrence. So he'll correct a mistake pretty quick if DJ doesn't get it together. But I think against lesser talent, where he can get away with more, I think it's a confidence thing because there were throws that were open that DJ also didn't pull the trigger on. It wasn't just that because sometimes he would get to that read and you'd see him come off of it because he was rattled. He didn't trust him. And there was a couple. Now 10 is a problem. Nada. My goodness, that kid, what do you have, 120 yards receiving? He can catch these with his so if against lesser talent, if just the same reason why they'll do the dink and dunk game to get some confidence going. If he can get some confidence in his throws, like DeHaven said, he made some good plays against Notre Dame last year because he had confidence, at the time. So I think if he doesn't pull it together against lesser talent, lesser competition, and start pulling the trigger on those throws, he may not stay in it, but I think he will, and I think we'll be there at the end of the year. But I think we could potentially lose just the same at the end.
Let me ask you this question. You mentioned talent a lot, and that was the nature of our conversation that we had. Pac Jam. Do they have the talent around them offensively? We mentioned 10 being a playmaker. Who's their playmaker as far as the running game? I mean, because I was like, man, they need Travis Etienne. They need somebody who else that needs to step up that you think can step up because. Other than number 10, I had a big question mark offensively who the playmakers were.
You asking me that?
No, I'm asking Jason.
I thought you were asking Pat.
I'm sorry. I was asking you, Jason.
I think Galloway Galloway's got all the tools. I mean, if you see him in spring ball, I mean, he definitely has the fluid movement. You know how some tight ends it's labored. You know, it's there. Like the kid can play and he knows it. It's very natural to him, and that's when I think they're the most dangerous. So I think he's going to emerge. I think Will Shipley, the kid we got that quick little throw to, he's got some Christian McCaffrey to him with the sudden feet thing. I think schematically last night we were just either hoping to catch 10 because we didn't have time to develop anything else. Galloway dropped the third down, of course, but I think it's going to be Galloway and Shipley that emerge towards the end of the year. Everybody knows Justin Ross is great, so he's going to take attention off 10, but it's going to be the tight end and Shipley.
What Shipley? What position play? Running back.
Running back, yeah. He's a little kid. He's a number 2 running back in the nation or something coming into the year, I believe. He's a smaller guy. That's why I kind of compare him to Christian McCaffrey. But he's real sudden. Yeah. And when they lined him up out wide, I mean, he made that little move. I mean, I think if they can see some silver lining here, is they've got a little weapon there they can try to develop. But it's going to be Galloway, I think. He's going to be the security blanket for a big quarterback.
Well, I think they got to, in addition to that, they got to clean that offensive line player. They got to expose. Hopefully, you can look at it and say, well, just against Georgia, more talent, but it looked like they exposed scheme-wise, too, as far as that Georgia had the number. All right, but speaking of how they number pack, you got the mic, baby. Man, Alabama and Miami. Good Lord. Tell me your thoughts on that pack, Jam.
Well, again, you know, I just and sometimes, you know, less is more. You know what I mean? And that's what that was. You know, it spoke for itself. It showed from the beginning of the game, the first drive, that you was outclassed, outmatched. You know what I mean? It's like a person is playing chess against Bobby Fischer. They just learned how to play chess yesterday, and now they want to play Bobby Fischer. You know what I'm saying? Because they won a couple games on the internet.
Hey, Pac, I just got a text notification. Alabama just scored again.
No, I mean, because when you look at, you know, I look at the game because my brother has made me, you know, for years. I look at the game from inside out, the trenches, because I think, you know, that's always been told, you know, growing up, we always been like, that's where the game's won at. When you saw the offensive line and the defensive line of Alabama's against Miami, it was two different franchises, two different worlds. They was getting blown off the ball on both sides of that ball, offensively and defensively. They couldn't stand it. They couldn't stand it. And that's why I sent you that post game press conference of Manny Diaz, because I wanted you to hear what he was saying and how sometimes coach speak is one thing, but reality is a whole nother. He gave a great coach speech because that was not the reality of what had just taken place, even the questions he was asked. I mean, you couldn't stop nothing, anything. And Bryce Young comes out there, 19 years old, first start, and he's the first, breaks the Alabama record, puts up 4 TDs, almost 400 yards. Flawless game. He's a problem. He's a problem, man. He's a problem. And you know what? We did the backup tight end who was not even scheduled to play had a coming out party. Because Billingsley was benched. You saw him he was trying to get in the game, and Saban was like, no, you're not playing. No, you're not.
Right.
And he had, 2 touchdowns? He looked like he's the next great tight end. You know, but hey, man, hopefully I'm just ready for Florida now in 2 weeks. I'm ready for the Florida Gators in 2 weeks, but I told you that Miami wasn't ready, man. Be honest with you.
My question on Friday was, Pac, is we knew Miami was going to get blown. Vegas knew it. Can they compete in the ACC, or is this over for Manny?
I feel like, you know what? I feel like the best thing happened for Manny was Clemson and North Carolina losing. To me, I think that saved Manny's job. If Clemson wins Saturday and North Carolina wins Friday night, then everybody will be talking about firing Manny Diaz. But because both of those teams lost, it gave him saving grace to, like, you know what? Well, maybe, you know, people kind of scratching their heads a little bit. Well, maybe you're right. They lost. Well, anybody could lose. That kind of sort of thing. You know what I mean? But I think Manny needs to go, but the saving grace was those 2 teams losing. I still feel like Clemson's going to run away with the ACC. The problem with Clemson's only worried about is trying to get back in the showdown, in the show. You know what I mean? Hoping that they can get back in and show some other saying a loss. But as far as the ACC, they finna run. Dabo is gonna put up 90 points a game starting this Saturday. So I'm telling you now, if you coaches in your feelings and you out here thinking you finna get some friendship football out of Dabo is finna put up 90 points a game because Dabo got to get his team back up there and looking like a perennial powerhouse. And he know he can't do it beating somebody 30-0. So he's putting 90 on you. So just a little hint for ACC fans. If you play Clemson, just know you better play. You better go all in, all out for 4 quarters because they're trying to put 90 on
you. Yeah. David, what's your thoughts, man? Miami, Alabama, baby.
I was pulling for your alma mater to you. I was down here. All the Miami fans was happy, but they just got outmatched. They just didn't look like they could compete. Like Pac Jam said, I mean, it was obvious. I knew it was going. I thought it was going to be closer than that. I think everybody did, but just 27-0 in the first half. I mean, that's
hunted the ball one time in the first half.
It's just tough. I was really surprised how Bryce Young played though so early. I mean, he really shocked me how good he is. I knew he was going to be good, but I really think he really showed out. Neutral site, first game, number 14 ranked team, and he really showed out. That was good.
Yeah.
Going back to like we talked about.
I say
Go
I was
ahead.
surprised because initially I thought looking at on paper, I was like, okay, they're going to come in and just Bama, run the ball a lot, just create the run. Man, they came out just running their offense. I was like, wow, they didn't have no handcuffs on this kid. They just ran their offense. They ran whatever they wanted to run, like they was playing Madden and something. They was getting it done. And I was like, man, this dude. And you're right, this dude had a lot of poise, but they kept him clean. The offensive line, I thought, did a good job, and then the play call and get him outside on the pocket helped out a lot because a couple of times he got some pressure. And you can see the youngness in him because he was careless with the ball, and easily could have got a pick or he tried to force an issue in there. But when he stayed clean, he did his thing, man. Hey, he did his thing, especially because Miami blitzed him a few times, a few of those touchdowns, and he found the open guy, ended up creating a touchdown on that, So, so he definitely, I love the way he played, man. And you listen to the talk, it was like, I think somebody favoring or somebody was saying he's an early candidate to win the Heisman.
He's the front runner. You heard it right. That's what they said.
Front runner. Yeah. Jason, what did you get a chance to see that game, man? What's your thoughts, bro?
I was actually hyping about it. It also, I mean, the trenches. I mean, it stood right out, but
no doubt.
It also Miami's secondary was confused a lot. And so you never know, is that overcoaching? Do they have the kids trying to think and read too much? Was it just? I mean, because everybody knows what Alabama's going to do, regardless. Even if they're all out, that offense is going to be over the top, but then scheming with these crossers, and then there's just this guy that is just faster than anyone else catching a ball in stride. But there were so many times where a Miami defender wouldn't be within 5 yards of the catch.
Right.
And it just seemed like that's it sucks to be on both ends of that. That's either overcoaching or undercoaching, and I know that seems like a generic statement, but I think you know what I mean. So it just, I think Miami is always going to have the recruiting because they're Miami. I think they're going to have to get a guy. I mean, not forever, of course, but I think they're still within that window where they can get it right. I don't know that Manny Diaz is going to be that guy. I think he's going to be, a great coach somewhere else, but I think for Miami to return to the U, you're going to have to get Saban-esque, I believe. I don't know that Diaz is that.
Yeah. To me, it was that you talking about overcoaching or think too much, whatever. It was that by 40. They play that get beat by 40. That defense they play get beat by 40 because it was just too many. That's the same thing that I saw last year. Just too many guys running free on deep crossing routes and all that stuff. And then the guy had time to throw the ball. I mean, too many guys free on that. So you can't do that. And then I thought didn't play a whole lot of zone. We should have played more man, try to match up with him. Other than that one route that they got backed up with that 94-yard touchdown, that was pure man coverage. And that route they ran a post corner from the slot position. He was the third receiver. And I mean, you got all day to throw that. I was like, good Lord. And the free safety was leaning to the shoulder of the field. So it just made the field even wider because you had no help over top. that route right there was crazy for.
He's still running.
Yeah, he's still running.
But to me, what that
and
route showed, though, what that showed is what I said earlier. That showed the confidence the coaching staff had in the offensive line to run a play that takes that much time from their own 3-yard line.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Because
no
ordinarily, you're not going to find more than, I don't even know. I can't even think of the number. How many teams you're going to find a coach that will run a post pattern that takes that long to develop from their own 3-yard line? That's a lot of confidence in them big uglies in front of you that know that they're going to be able to hold up. And they did.
And
he stood back there like this, waiting. Nobody came near him. That tells you the confidence in that offensive line coach.
So that was my morning after when I woke up. I'm like, I think they would have done that to any team in the country with a whole season, with an off season prepared. I don't think it was just Miami. I mean, Miami's got its issues. We know that. But I think they would have done that to any team I saw on Saturday.
Yeah, they definitely showed up, man. You know,
I think they would have done that to FSU. That would have done it to Notre Dame. I think they would have done it to Clemson. I don't care who they would have opened up with Alabama. That team's loaded.
Yeah. They could. I don't think they could do that to any team. I mean, it's Miami's defensive line did not get any pressure at all. I mean, they just
only time they got pressure when they blitzed a few times. They got a couple times, but that's not. Yeah, Miami they ain't get no pressure if they. Yeah, I agree with you.
So who
the coverage? They playing soft coverage. They playing that by 40 coverage. Get beat by 40. It was just soft.
So who you think right now? Then, according to like Double A saying, who do you think right now can line up this Saturday and beat Alabama? Any team? What team you think will beat this Saturday?
I'm saying when I'm talking about, I wouldn't say necessary. I wouldn't necessarily say beat Alabama, but I'm curious to see what Georgia does.
Yeah.
I like what
Georgia has no offense. We just saw that.
But pause though. Pause. I'm just curious. I'm saying I know their offense is not there, but I'm curious to see what Georgia would do as far as against that, because defensively they got the athletes, they got the scheme, they got the pressure. You know, they got the
Kirby smart. So Kirby. The thing is,
never be
what?
Nobody's paying attention to Kirby Smart. Since Kirby Smart left Alabama, he's done one thing every year. He's brought a top 5 class in of defensive players. Every year he's been in Georgia, he's had a top 5 team of defensive players. He has not brought in no top offensive players. His offensive players are normally transfers from other schools.
Well, the one
just like he has now.
He ended up transferring out Justin Fields. He had somebody, but he left.
Right, but but you saw what he did. You saw what he did. At the end of the day, like I said, he has not recruited offense. Kirby has played Alabama 4 times. It's been close for 3 quarters. The 4th quarter, it busts wide open because the defense is wore down because you can't score. So my thing is to people is until he starts recruiting offensive players, he's just going to be known as a Baltimore Raven guy. He's going to give you a great 3-quarter game, and the 4th quarter Pittsburgh always win with Big Ben. Remember those games? That's what you're going to get because you have no offense. And Kirby Smart, luckily for Kirby Smart, Clemson had no offense Saturday, so he was like, "Oh, I love this. I love this all day. We can punt." Because he knows he has no offense, but he has defense. And if you can't put that ball over the top of his front 7, that's what the game's gonna be.
Bro, he asked the question. I'm saying that based on what I seen, that's the only team right now that I think that can give a threat in Alabama to some degree with all the deficiencies they have.
You might not believe this.
Yeah, they're not going to start the game down 30-0.
Now, don't laugh. Don't laugh when I say this. There's only one team. They can't beat us, but they would give us the scariest game of our life right now. It's only one team. UCLA. I know you're laughing. I know you was gonna laugh. You know, listen to me. Remember I told you this. I told you UCLA was gonna beat LSU. They're gonna win the Pac-12 conference. Chip Kelly finally has a team with speed.
Yeah.
He finally does. And it's not because he recruited. He has a bunch of transfers. They got a lot of speed all over the field, and that's what Chip needs to run his system. Speed. They got it. Remember I told you that. That's why I told you with confidence they was going to beat LSU, and they ran them off the field.
Listen, and you
Washington
did
Huskies.
call that. You did call that. And then based on what I saw, I agree with you. I mean, those guys are. He's got some playmakers. I mean, they rushed for over 200 something yards. One back had 110. The other one had like 90 something. They had a balanced attack. They used the run to set up the pass with the play action and whatnot. The quarterback is good. Receivers stepped up. Defensively,
He don't
they
have a
do a lot of
defense,
scheme.
but he's just like, but that's why I said they're gonna beat Alabama, but they'll scare him to death because he will be able to score. He just won't be able to stop you from scoring.
Yeah, no, the defense. No, I was about to say the defense. Now they gave us some yardage, but they held LSU run game to like 49 yards. They
LSU has
are
no
very,
quarterback.
huh? Who?
They have no quarterback.
Who's
LSU
that?
has no quarterback at all.
Matt Johnson threw
LSU,
for 336 yards. I mean he threw, and the receiver they got, what's that, Bote, or what's the boat receiver they got? Number one for LSU. He stepped up. But what I'm saying though is defensively, UCLA, they do a great job with their schemes, whatnot, and running some stuff, and they well coached. They will confuse you on the back end, but I just don't think they got the dogs to deal with Alabama. You know, they ain't got the
no,
dogs.
I didn't say that beat us. I said they would give us a scare,
I know, but I don't think they would give you a scare. They ain't got the dogs like that.
and they're gonna
You
win the
know,
Pac-12.
Yeah, they win the track.
I'm not arguing about that.
They'll win the
I mean, what I
Pac-12.
saw, I was they well coached, and those guys was playing very well. You know, they did a great job. So I'm not arguing with you about that. I think they definitely. I haven't seen all the Pac-12. I guess USC is supposed to be the early favorite as well. But you're right. I mean,
Trash.
UCLA, they got some players. I was very impressed when I saw that game. But they got the talent in the trenches for against Alabama. You know?
Oregon barely snuck by Fresno State.
Oregon ain't got nothing going on. And you know what that kid's gonna do, right? The one that got hurt, the defensive player, but get your top 5 pick.
Get ready for the
I'm gonna tell
draft.
you what he's finna do. It's done.
Get ready for the draft.
It's done.
And Washington lost to Montana, so you know.
Yeah.
That's why I say Chip Kelly all day.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you know, you got the top 25. Obviously, Alabama beat Miami. Anybody seen that Oklahoma versus Tulane 40-35? Now that was a scare.
They loaded. Come on, Tulane. I watched that game. Are you serious right now, Tulane?
Yeah.
Oklahoma always.
But you know, and that's the thing. It's so many media outlets that loves Lincoln Riley, and he gets the benefit of the doubt of the hype every year.
Rightfully
saying,
rightfully so.
Listen, but what happens is they tell lies, like saying this is Oklahoma best defensive ever under Lincoln Riley. That defense the same as it was last year, the year before that. Can't stop running war. The same.
What you say?
It could be true. It could be the best defense they had. Defense would still suck. It could be the best one they had.
Right.
They didn't give up 42. They gave up 35.
Exactly.
I still think that Tulane quarterback got a first down. I don't understand why they marked it that way.
It's improvement. But go ahead, Pat.
You know, again, he gets the benefit of the doubt. And I told you on the show Friday. I remember talking to you in Double A. And I said,
Kirby's a defensive guy. Lincoln's an offensive guy, so they need to get together, right?
Right. I said on the show, when we was on the show Friday, I said that I was not good on Spencer Rattler. I've been telling y'all that. He's not that guy. And once again, what did he do? Mr. Supposed to be the Heisman front runner, this and that. He went right out there and put them in bad position after bad position.
Yeah.
He played like that. He played like he was a true freshman, like that was his first start.
Right.
Forcing throws, overthrowing people, holding the ball too long. I told you, because remember last year, Lincoln got pissed with him and benched him against Texas.
Right.
He will get benched this season too.
Right.
You know, he will get benched this season too. He's not sober, that kid.
Right. Well,
but again,
go ahead.
What's in the Big 12? Win by default.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one team that won. What about Texas? You called that upset, but Texas
yeah, I did. And that was the only upset I missed.
It was a close game, though. It was a close one.
Yeah, Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns let me down toward the end, man. They let me down, man. They couldn't stop the running game, which that kid, who that kid was? Came from Alabama, Robinson.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that was a last minute COVID transfer. Kudos to the NCAA with this thing, but hey, it is what it is. But he had a great game. They couldn't stop him.
Hey man, speaking of Robinson, that Robinson from Alabama, they need to drug test him all the time. That joker looked like, God Lord, that joker looked like a grown man out there.
He was.
God,
he was delivering punishment.
That joker big. Good Lord, that joker huge.
So you posted a comment up earlier, Mike. We ragged on the Miami defense, but you got to say something about that play calling from that Miami offense. It was
yeah.
There's something something's got to call this guy LL out, man, because running draw traps into the gut ain't gonna work.
Well, Mike spoke highly of the guy because he came from Auburn. Remember that?
Yeah, I had high expectations. I was like,
he coached at Auburn. He knows how to run. He knows how to get in it. That's what Mike said.
I was like, man, he would know. I'm thinking he'd call up Gus. He got the blueprint, but man, child, please. But I told you my question mark was Derek Key. I was like, man, is he ready to go? Because I said I'd have been more comfortable if he was healthy heading to that game. But I mean, going in that game, not getting no in contact, I had a huge question mark on that because I knew they weren't going to design runs and something like that. But you're right, the play call was bad. I mean, they started the game with some boots and stuff like that, but they didn't make Alabama cover the whole field. And you talk about protection. I mean, Bama they ran by our offensive line. They was just standing in quicksand. They couldn't protect anybody. And then the play call, I mean, I thought you'll see some more max protect, throw the thing up top. But, I mean, if you're not committed on running the ball, you can do play action every day, all day. It's not going to work, The best thing he did to come out the second half, he started getting the guy outside the pocket, just taking what they give him. I thought he should have did some quick game stuff, opening stuff up. But, I mean, make him cover the whole field. But, bro, they was doing bubble screens and getting negative. They ran like 7 bubble screens, got 0 yards. It's like Alabama not only had the size, but they had the speed to match up. And it was like the receivers, I mean, other than one play that it was a great throw and catch across the middle. Other than that, man, it was missing the action, bro. I mean, the play call and the
personnel, you can't from a play caller standpoint, same thing with Clemson, where Pag's like, oh, where was the coach and blah, blah, blah. We did throw some quick game. We did try to get, some of the ball out quickly. But the problem is, if you can't take the top off, the defenders were up on the receivers. So the quick game meant nothing. They were just closer to get to the tackle. So the personnel dictates the play calling. Yes, you can adjust your play calling to address deficiencies, but if you don't have the playmakers to execute, adjust it all you want. Like the result could be worse. So I don't know. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I don't want to put that on Miami play calling because I feel like that's the hand that they had. And it could have been worse if they'd have tried. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't have the confidence, those guys on those sidelines, some are better than others. But if you're there, you know what you're doing to a certain degree. So watching that game, it just seemed like kids overmatched against the kids on the other side. I don't know that all the most ingenious play calling in the world, I don't know would have got Miami back into that game. I really don't.
Do you think Clemson will be facing Miami in an ACC title game this year?
It's tough to say because Miami can come out next week and look amazing, and they can look great. That turnover chain can get tramped back out, and the next thing you know, we're back. I mean, it's week one. It really is.
That game could be the death penalty, and the kids never recover. Because that's something I said listen, I know people don't like to think like that, but that's something I said before. When you schedule those games like that, and so much emotional hype get into it, a lot of times, I'm not talking about Manny Diaz recovery. I'm saying those 17, 18, 19-year-olds can never recover from that. We've seen that before. Big game on the schedule, you get beat to smithereens, and the kids it's a wash season. And the coach is in there talking, but his voice is stale.
Wasn't it the year that USC got blown out week one by Alabama? They finished pretty strong. and looked like a pretty good team? Weren't they like in the outside dark horse shot of getting into
I
the
didn't say
playoffs?
they couldn't recover. I didn't say they couldn't recover. I said those are also the possibilities.
You'll
Like
know
Florida State. When Florida State opened with Alabama and got beat, remember how they recovered? They didn't.
They didn't.
The quarterback got hurt. That's a little.
Yeah.
Right.
He got pulled
But they
out.
still didn't recover.
Right.
He's still out. Did he ever play again?
He never
I
was
don't
the
think
same.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, he ended up in a domestic violence situation. He ended up, fizzling off.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Pat. I'm not questioning. I mean, that's always a possibility, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, especially like you said earlier, the fact that Clemson lost, North Carolina lost.
Yeah.
Miami's like, you know what? We got a chance to. Our goals are still ahead of us. We got hope. We still got a chance, to win, because in their mind it's like, man, it's a possibility, especially with North Carolina losing, because they're in the same coastal division as Miami on that side. So I don't see, it's too early for them to like throw in the towel and be like,
Is the ACC dead?
Huh?
Is the ACC dead?
Is it dead?
Yeah.
No, it's just too early. It's too early to say if it's dead. You talking about what? Clemson lost against Georgia. Georgia, a top 5 talent team. We said that recruiting wise, they got the athletes, they got the player. So it's not dead in that regards. And then Virginia Tech beat North Carolina. And what?
No, what I'm saying is dead as far as the playoff. You think the ACC will still somebody make the playoff?
No, I don't think so. I think if Clemson, went out, I mean it. But the bad is who do they play though? They don't play any ranked teams.
See, the thing about it is,
I don't think so. But I don't think it's dead. I think you win the conference, you still. I mean, it's gonna.
No, because what I was saying was,
if Clemson went out, Pat, all they're gonna say, man, they lost against Georgia. A loss against Georgia is not. It's not a death threat.
No, the reason why I brought that up is because remember, if Georgia runs the table in the SEC East, they lose the SEC championship to Alabama. That's only one loss, so they got the tiebreaker against Clemson. Do you agree with that?
Say that again one more time.
If Georgia wins out, they lose in the SEC championship to Alabama. That'll give them one loss. They hold the tiebreaker against Clemson, right? That's why I said that.
So you
because if you bring Ohio State, if you bring Ohio State goes undefeated, Oklahoma goes undefeated, Alabama, you got to let Georgia in, right?
Oh yeah, you would do that. Yeah, if Oklahoma.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no doubt. If they're undefeated, but I wasn't thinking of. Yeah, that's definitely the case.
But look at all the things you just lined up that would have to happen. Did Ohio State look like a world? I mean, they won.
Exactly.
But,
they did.
And Oklahoma, we were just talking about Tulane. I mean,
I know, but they benefit. They benefit the fact that the reason why I said it, they benefit the fact though, Jay, of let's be honest, their peers don't scare nobody. They're not scared of their peers. Ohio State's not scared of none in the Big Ten.
Well, Clemson's
do you agree with that?
You say what now?
I said Ohio State. Nobody puts fear in them. Nobody. I don't see nobody beating them in the Big Ten. You?
Every year, almost. Yeah. Every year they almost lose.
Yeah.
You know how many times that dude done laid down on the money in Penn State with his best teams, and you gonna bring up Penn State name? Come on, man.
Are we going to talk about the Boilermakers? What are you talking about? It was the only game they won all year. Like, Ohio State can lose to anyone tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
Tomorrow. So let's not. Justin Fields ain't understand.
Yeah, based on what we just saw, man, Ohio State. I mean, they look beat them.
They gonna bench him. Listen,
defense looks shaky.
Listen, honestly, I don't see him keeping the job. There's two dudes behind him, especially the quarterback job. I don't see him. Okay. I don't see him staying with him. Honestly, I don't. To me, that was like, you know what?
Penn State will beat Ohio State. Brian, you think Penn State will beat him, huh?
Penn State just barely got. Did you see that game against Wisconsin?
I saw it.
What you passing the ball for? You running all over the field. What is you run. And then you pass the ball every time in the red zone when the field is short. What are you thinking?
I saw it.
And then that poor kid from Wisconsin. I mean, God, have you ever seen the exact same pass lose the game twice?
Right.
I mean,
right.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, he definitely won't do that again. And I don't think. I mean, it's hard to say Penn State didn't look good. They won, but Wisconsin did not look like
Wisconsin had a chance to win. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
So
Brian, Wisconsin definitely had a chance to win. And then I like Brian's comments. He felt Minnesota beat themselves versus Ohio State. But like me and Pat talked about that running back, when that running back got hurt, that changed the game.
Yeah, when he went down, it was over.
Yeah.
When Muhammad went down, it was over. Just like he had surgery today. That's Achilles. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
Achilles. He had surgery today.
Yeah. But no, Pat. I mean, when you paint a scenario like that, Oklahoma going undefeated, Ohio State going undefeated, and Georgia lose against Alabama. Yeah, of course. You know, Georgia going to go in because they got the head-to-head matchup. But I don't think, like I say, other than right now after week one, like Alabama, the one that looked like, okay, they look surefire. Like they definitely in the playoff. But
I'm excited about
the playoff. I mean, it could be up for grabs, you know?
September 18th. Mark it on your calendar.
What's that?
That's Alabama goes to Gainesville.
Okay, so what you saying?
I'll be there too. I already got my ticket. I'll be there.
So what are you saying, though? You saying what?
I'm gonna keep you on speed dial because they might try to come get me. It's been known. So if you hear, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the scenario you described. Can we not all agree that a far more likely scenario is going to be a one-loss Oklahoma, a probably one-loss Ohio State, and a probably two-loss Georgia? Even if they win the East, they're going to drop a game to someone. Florida's going to upset them. Ole Miss could. I mean, it's Georgia. It could.
Right.
And I think you're going to have the ACC champ Clemson. And I'm going to say it right here and look at the calendar. I think we'll lose in the first round. If DJ doesn't take that next step, and that next step that I'm going to need to see, that's a leap. I just don't. I mean, it maybe it could, but I see.
He'll win you over when he puts 60 on Wake Forest. You'll be sold.
Yeah, no.
Hey, ask Kevin. I don't get up high when we beat up on the Wake Forest of the world, or just like if I was in
you'll be like,
Wake Forest. Hey, y'all sleeping on Wake Forest. Wake Forest got an offense now. They Wake
Hey.
Forest to score.
Hey, or when we beat up on Duke, or the Vanderbilt, the SEC.
Duke. Yeah, say Duke. They say.
I think.
Charlotte.
What do y'all think? Do you think that it's too big of a step, in my opinion? The DJ of week one, if he does pull it together and we win a playoff game, how is that not the story of all time?
Bro,
look what it's like in week one versus winning a playoff game. I don't think he can. I think it's too big of a leap, but imagine if he can.
Well, for me, I look at it different. To me, I look at it that I think he'll be all right. He needs some help, though. And to me, it's like the supporting cast.
He needs a running back.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked you who else, and you said the Shipley dude. So I'm trying. He needs some other guys to step up.
18 is gone.
Even last year, right? Even last year with Travis Etienne and you had Rodgers, I was like, somebody else got to step up. They need some other guys to step up. And then the one receiver starts stepping up, making some plays the second half of the season. So to me, they need a running game. They need that O-line to do a better. To me, I'm like, okay, was that Georgia or the O-line just sucked like that? So for me, I'm not worried about DJ. I'm concerned about he can't do it by himself. He's not like that generational talent that Pac Jam talked about, where he could kind of do it by himself. He needs some help, and I want it from the coaches to the players around him. So if I'm counting on that, the team is going to develop, guys going to step up because they got some talent on that team. He needs some help all across the board. So I'm a little different. You've seen him more than me, Jason. From what I saw, I see that the guy got something. He just needs some help. He needs to take the pressure off him because he needs.
Well, like I said, have no fear. Honestly, I have no fear because I realize that Clemson got NC State, Wake Forest. Have no fear. The schedule is here. They're gonna be all right. They'll be at the end. What are you talking about? You talking like they got Alabama this Saturday? No, they don't have to worry about none of that right now. They got NC State, Duke, a heavy dose of Wake Forest, with a side order of Virginia Tech. Oh, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. Yeah, they'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm
They'll
thinking
be okay.
Bama, Clemson, another
Who do you
team out
see
of
giving
SEC.
Ohio State their loss?
Huh?
Who do you see knocking off Ohio State coming out of the Midwest?
I don't know. What about Michigan? Can Michigan
That's
do anything?
that's what I was going to say. They looked all right the
No,
other day.
they lost their best player with an ACL,
Oh, who's that?
the receiver. He had caught 3 passes, was showing out. The 4th pass, ACL, he's done. His mom and dad came down on the sideline. He's boohoo crying. He's out of there. Their season is over. That's why I called Kevin. I said, Harbaugh has the worst luck in the world. He finally got a playmaker, and he's gone.
See, to me with Big Ten, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I watched a lot last year, and I think it's a lot of teams. I mean, that can. I think this year you may see a lot of upset. I know we saw the Indianas last year, the Northwesterns that step up, but now those two teams are going the opposite direction. To me, it's now musical chairs. Like Michigan State had a pressure win, Iowa had a pressure win. Minnesota, even though they took Ohio State to the brink, they can do some things possibly. But the running back, he's out. So I don't know. I don't know if and even Penn State. I don't know if Ohio State come out clean, especially with the question mark they got at quarterback, because that quarterback, he didn't look as impressive.
See, and the thing about it is the teams you just named, they're all one-trick ponies, meaning that they only got one star player. When you go against Ohio State's going to have more talent on the field than Iowa with this one good receiver or Michigan State with one good running back. Like, you got to beat them with more than the one elite player. That's what Minnesota problem was. They had one elite talent. He was the running back. He had almost 200 yards. He had almost 200 yards on him, in a short span. But he was the only talent. You got to have more talent, and that's why I see them running through the Big Ten, because nobody outside of them can put more elite talent on the field than them.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I agree.
Because as bad as the quarterback was, remember, he had 3 receivers running 4-3. So as bad as he was, they was wide open. Remember? They was like, hey, just go right here, man. Just right here. You know what I mean?
Was it 2 or 3 years ago? Iowa beat the brakes off of Ohio State. And Ohio State had just as many 5 stars then. That was the beginning of the turning the curve. They had all them 5 stars in there. So Iowa still beat them. Purdue ran them off the field. We joked about that a little bit earlier. I mean, when you ask,
you have your exceptions to the rule. You have your one times open. But I'm just saying, on a consistent basis, ain't nobody just going in there upsetting no Big Shoe. The time Iowa caught them in the snow in Iowa, they did that thing. But you ain't just going. What I look out there now, what they got in the landscape, I just don't fathom the talent level they got now. Even with, like you said, going back, those teams that had a talent, but I just don't see that happen. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to get more at that quarterback. I'm not convinced. And defensive wise, they look bad. They didn't look as good as dominant. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, DeHaven?
Yeah, Ohio State, like I said, the quarterback is going to be a key in the slot. I would never think like seeing something that close in the first game after years of watching them, something that close for Ohio State. Usually they're out the blocks and they're dominating the Big Ten teams. But from week 1 for it to be that close is a little bit interesting to me. We'll see. I wonder what Pac Jam says if they do go to this kid Ewers, is he eligible to play this year or?
Yes, everybody's eligible to play.
That'll be the questions if they end up going to Ewers at some point. But
he's a $1 million man.
Yeah, if they go to him, we'll see. So they do have a hope because they got like the number one, they got the kid that reclassified. But I just never seen Ohio State just come out and to be that close the first game against a Big Ten opponent like Minnesota. Listen, I thought they'd beat the brakes off of them.
Gay did a great job of saying, you know what?
Yeah.
He did. Their coach did a great job of saying, you know what? I gave you a whole game and I let you play the whole game. And so he come back this week right here and say, the first time you mess up, which I know he's gonna mess up, he can go and insert his next guy in. And just like Clemson did when they had Trevor Lawrence, you had a generational quarterback, so the leash was this short. So once it got this short. So what happened? Go on out there, Trevor. I gave him his chance. Go on out there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what's going. That's what's about to happen.
I'm not.
I thought
And I
you
ain't
said
mad
Dabo.
about it.
I'm
I
not
thought you
overly
said
concerned
Dabo
about
doesn't make
Ohio State offense. I'm sorry.
I say he didn't make none Saturday night. I didn't say about then. And that wasn't an adjustment. That was a no-brainer. That was common sense.
What's that?
When he had Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he waiting to put Trevor in.
Yeah.
That was
I'm not
like
so concerned about Ohio State offense. It's that defense that they got to get going. You know, when you talk about winning championships, that defense didn't look as good. You know, so the offense.
But that's what I'm saying.
They could because
the
the
offense will win the Big Ten.
Receivers, you got a running game that you can get going on. You got the backs to get it done. I mean, they had 3 or 4 running backs to get it done. So you got more support as compared to what I was talking about with DJ. DJ, I mean, he don't have the support that Ohio State have at receivers. Ohio State got some veteran guys, some speed, some established guys. You know, the running backs were showing up. Master T, those guys were showing up. Offense line, you know, their talent. It's just does Ohio State has a championship defense? I'm curious to see how that defense develop, particularly that front seven.
So are you saying DJ inherited the cup when it was bare?
You said what?
Are you saying DJ inherited the cup, but it was bare?
I'm not saying it's bare. It just need to be developed. I'm hoping they got the talent. They just need to develop. Just like last year, right?
Stop the coach speak. Stop the coach speak.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm saying, just like no different, that I'm thinking they got the talent because consistently they got top 5 recruiting class. Those guys.
That's why I'm the realest co-host in sports right there. No. They don't have it. They didn't have a. What did you say about Robinson? You said Robinson was a grown man. They didn't have that. DJ was not able to put the ball in nobody's stomach and say, you know what? Let me go get these 3-4 yards right here. They don't have no game breaking running back. They don't have it.
That's why I don't know their roster.
They didn't call the run.
Jason,
I see.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't know their roster. I'm assuming they got talent, like I told you.
You ain't got to know it. You watch 4 quarters of the game.
Huh?
Oh my God.
You watch 4 quarters of football.
Look, we got schemed right out of it. Like, the people on the other sideline know what they're looking at.
Running the ball. Go ahead.
But it clearly was not going to. What would you rather them just feed it to a guy that ain't going to get through the trenches? And we're going to be blaming him like he sucks. They knew what they saw. We were losing at the line of scrimmage. You know, we would have just went 3 and out faster. All right. So yeah, we got the players. They got to develop the line. They got to change some game plans when they come up against people that are the same size as them. Because you got to think, the rest of the year, we're not going to be running up against people that are the same size as us.
Right.
But the problem was DJ pulling the trigger. All right. The shots were there.
Question. Do you feel you got a running back that makes anybody scared?
Define. Well, you mean like a game-breaking running back?
Do you have you know what I'm saying? Do you have a running back that makes people say Candyman, Candyman, Candyman?
Everybody? You think you had to win? No, Clemson
I
does
say,
not.
do you?
I do not. No.
Okay, that answers the question right there. Travis Etienne, he was that. Travis Etienne was a Candyman. He made you scared.
Right.
Whether he was catching it out of the backfield or whether he was running out of the backfield. That's why everybody in Clemson was thanking the Lord Jesus when he decided to come back to school.
What Candyman on the field was Deshaun or Trevor. Travis was nice, but it was not. Travis Etienne was not what everybody was scared to death of when they lined up against Clemson.
Travis got records that'll never be broke.
They had some receivers too, though.
Put some respect on Travis Etienne's name. I'm not gonna let you do that, Jason. Put some respect on his name.
I live here.
Let me call Travis.
Jason, for me last year, like especially in the first half of the season, Travis was.
Hey, Urban, put Travis on the phone.
Their guy. You know,
he's on IR.
He was their guy. So
that's why I know he can accept the call.
He was their guy. Travis to me was their guy. He was carrying that team, right? Because Trevor, other than until Trevor played against Georgia Tech, that's when he caught on fire. But Travis was carrying that team in the beginning, you know. But for me, you asked me, do I think the cover's bare? I say I don't think so because they consistently got the top 5 recruit class. So I'm hoping they got some talent but it needs to be developed. Somebody needs to show up, and that's my question mark. Somebody needs to show up. No different than last year. Last year they had Travis and they had Rodgers in the beginning, but somebody else needed to show up. You talking about winning championship football? Somebody else had to show up. You know.
Hey,
Young headed that ball off. When Bryce Young headed that ball off Saturday, the first thing you said, the first thing Double A said, the first thing that main man up there at ATL said, he said that's a grown man running that ball right there.
No doubt. And they got more grown men at running back. Alabama, they let you know. And I told you, I said, look.
So that's my point. You know when you see Candyman. So that's my point. DJ don't have that.
I don't know.
DJ needs a running back, man. Come on now.
You saying if they had it?
Listen, I think this guy Brian.
Is that what you're saying, Pat? You saying I would have seen it if they had it?
Yes.
I hope they. Jason,
that's like what that's like.
Top 5 running backs
listen,
over there.
that's like some. Listen. That's like back in the day. I know where everybody's married now, with the exception of me. But that's like going out and she said, well, no, I may not look good. You got to see me in the outfit I'm gonna wear tomorrow. No, I see you right now.
So, hey, Pat, all I'm saying.
She trying to tell me she gonna look better in a different dress. No, I'm seeing you right now. You saw it, 4 quarters of it.
And you
don't
Pat,
do that.
The season's too early. Hey, Pat, listen. If I go by what you're saying, then that means nobody's gonna get better. I seen guys step up and develop as the season went on, and that's what I'm saying. They got the talent. I'm just saying I need to see some development. Some guys need to develop. Just like last year, I keep pointing out, I saw Travis and I saw Rodgers in the beginning, but then other guys start developing. Those other guys need to put them develop quicker. They ain't got time to wait the whole season. Some guys need to step up and develop. That's all.
I'm telling you. Go ahead, Double A.
I was going to say, I'm just going to come back to that game I saw last night. I think the team that Clemson's got to be worried about is FSU. Those guys they got the dog back in the
Pat,
game, man.
I told you FSU physical, and you laughed at me. FSU physical, bro. That front 7. I told you that number 11 was out there eating. He was eating. So, you talk about earlier. Their quarterback was.
You talking about the Georgia transfer? Are you talking about the Georgia transfer? The Georgia transfer number 11. Don't do that. Don't do that. This me you talking to.
Showing up.
But don't go to Holland, Florida State like he homegrown, like he was raised on the farm in Florida State. No, he's a transfer.
But he looked like a no.
Florida State, now they defense they run is very questionable. But I know that front 7 from what I saw last year, they will hit you in the mouth. And they was that quarterback.
DeHaven.
Yeah.
DeHaven. When let's be honest, when Milton came in the game, my grandma praying, everybody praying, please don't touch that baby. Don't let him get hurt. I'm telling you, man.
I thought he was about to make a Disney movie off it when he came in the game.
Listen, man.
They need a quarterback.
Stop playing games. You need a quarterback. Stop playing games now, because that's the same thing happened in Washington with Alex Smith and Rivera said, man, I can't stomach you losing it. Come on over here, man.
That's why he ain't start. He was a better passer.
Right, but I'm just saying, you can't Disney movie every week.
Yeah. So you can't Disney movie. So Pat, you question what Double A is saying. You don't think? I don't think Florida's. I mean, I like how hard they play, but they need.
Florida State is not for real.
Yeah, they need.
That was just a one.
Florida State coach all on the listen. Florida State coach all on a Sunday, fresh out of church, and y'all was still in the spirit. And they worked your emotions last night with Milton. They are not there. They're not.
Hey, Pat, no, hold on, Pat. That was the game I told you I went with Florida State. I said Florida State going to upset Notre Dame. I went for that. And I told
Notre Dame is not good. Can we admit to that?
I know they're not good either. But that's why I said
they got a preseason ranking of number 9, courtesy of Clemson losing. They're going to go up to probably 6 or 5, but they're not good at all.
I know.
You heard what Kelly said? And listen, Kelly said, I'm gonna execute the whole team.
I know.
I don't know that I'd say they're not good at all. I'd say that they're not top 5.
They're not as elite as well as last year. Especially
when I say good, I'm not saying like I'm thinking good. I'm talking. I mean elite. I'm talking. When I say good, I mean in the
Yeah.
the showtime.
They're not a playoff
So
team.
They ain't
Pat,
ready
go
for
ahead.
that.
Round up board, Pat. Give me your four that's making a college playoff. Give it to me. Who's your four?
Just told you
Who?
it was Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State. Alabama,
Jahaven,
Georgia,
who you got,
Oklahoma.
Jahaven?
I got Alabama. I'm gonna go with Georgia. Home. I'll go with Georgia, Ohio State, and if UCLA might go undefeated out in the Pac-12, I think they could, and I may put UCLA in there. I think the ACC just kind of weak this year. It's going to be different. It's because Clemson will run the table. They will beat the brakes off everybody, but it's going to be, if none of those other ACT teams show up this year, I think, I don't know if Clemson gets in if somebody like UCLA goes undefeated.
Yeah. Jason, who you got, Jason?
I'm gonna say, are we doing it in the order that we think they'll be? For like,
Just your four.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Here's the order I think it's gonna be at when they do the countdown show. I think it's gonna be Alabama, Ohio State, probably Georgia, Clemson. I feel like Georgia is very capable of going out there and just losing 2 games for no good reason. But I think that the hype from that win, I think is going to carry them pretty well. And I think I think there's going to be 2 SEC teams in this year. But hey, listen, Georgia can fall apart. But that's I think Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson.
Yeah. Double A, who you got?
I really want to put 3 SEC teams in there. I want to say Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. I wouldn't count out the Gators yet out of anything because they got the talent.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brian, you got jokes. You talking about Miami?
Miami.
Brian, you funny.
Hey, I mean they could.
They could
run the table, win out. They'll be in.
I don't know if they'll get by Michigan State in 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. That's an interesting question. Can Miami, after that week 1, I mean, just if they run the table, will they get in based off that week 1 performance? If they don't lose another game,
if they run the table, yes.
Yeah.
But that's a big if.
Yeah, I mean they could because you're talking about now they got an ugly loss against the number 1 team in the nation. You know?
They're gonna draw them right again.
They did the stat on the game. The last time the last team to lose their first game and get blown out and win a national championship was the '83 Canes with Bernie.
Right.
Nebraska. They played Nebraska.
Yeah. I just don't think defensively. I don't think we got the talent defensively, especially up front on the D line. I don't think.
All right, I gotta go.
Okay. All right, Pat.
I gotta drive. I'm driving to Naples tonight, so I stopped by there. When I'm down south tonight, I'll swing on over to Miami, man, and see what your boy got going on, man.
Okay. All right. Let me know, Pat, man. Appreciate you, bro. Be safe.
All right.
Be good,
okay.
Pat.
Thank
See you Friday, man.
All right.
All right, man. Yeah. I don't know if they got the talent, man, especially up front in the front line. I like the linebacker number 11, Corey Flagger. He was making some plays during that game, but other than that, man, I don't know if they got the. You talking about in the trenches, especially on the D line? I don't know if on the edges. I don't know if they got it.
I don't think they'll get by Michigan State in a couple of weeks based on what I saw. Michigan State, they look fast for a Big Ten team.
There's definitely a possibility. All right, fellas, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys joining today, man. Appreciate you guys watching it, Brian. Appreciate the love, man. Jason, DeHaven, Double A, man. From my boy K. Lou holding down in Louisiana from Sideline2Baseline. We are out. Peace.